First Impressions. I'm Amanda. You know me well now. As you can see, I am not here with Dan today because Dan is not watching this show with us. Here joining me today is my little brother, Kyle. Hello!
Hello! And joining us, special guest.
Special guest, Jersey. That's her name.
She doesn't know what's happening.
She has no idea. She just knows she's allowed up on the couch.
It's a victory.
It was a very thrilling time for her. So we are doing a new series today, and again, it's one that I have seen. It's one that I've been a big fan of, but Kyle here has actually never seen it, so I thought it'd be perfect for to do a vlog on. So
very exciting.
That show is The X-Files.
Dun, dun, dun.
So The X-Files, yeah, I am a big fan of The X-Files, and this one actually is an interesting pick for me because even though I'm a big fan, I never actually got to see a lot of the earlier episodes as a kid because I joined in, my friends were big fans of it, and I kind of joined in with them around season 3 or season 4, and while I made my best effort to watch all of them, I just didn't get around to it. But the other reason I kind of wanted to revisit this series, other than the fact that they have the new miniseries out, which I have been watching, which I also have thoughts on. I have thoughts, they must be shared. But the other reason is that when I think back to The X-Files, it's funny. It's like, I can remember all of my favorite episodes, and almost none of them are what are known as mythology episodes. Episodes that actually have to do with the main arc of the series, which is searching for aliens and government conspiracy. And I can remember bits and pieces. I cannot, when I think of my favorite episodes, none of them are mythology episodes. And yeah, but I still love the series, so I thought it'd be great to revisit it. And it's great to revisit with somebody who has never seen it and so can look at it with fresh, non-nostalgic eyes.
Yes.
So, with that said, we have come to episode 1, the pilot of the series. So, Kyle, first thoughts?
Yes. See, when did the series first premiere? 1993?
93 or 94.
See, I was too little, and I didn't like creepy shows.
No.
Period.
No, you didn't like Poker
I
Room
didn't
either.
I didn't even like sleeping over at a friend's house. So the thought of...
You weren't even, you were like, what, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thought of watching this show, no, it didn't happen. Now that Netflix has graced us with all 8 seasons, we can binge watch it. So first episode, initial thoughts. Now keep in mind, I just recently in the last year watched Twin Peaks, so I couldn't get away from the real Twin Peaks vibe this first episode had, and the parallels. Just expecting the overall creepiness level that it did deliver at times, but
it is filmed in Vancouver. It is filmed in the same Pacific Northwest area.
Rains all the time.
Where all creepy things happen.
Yeah, and obviously things like the real 90s whole look, it's hard to get past when you're first watching it.
Yeah.
I commented to Amanda during the episode, I watch this, I see this all the time in shows, and people's habit in the 90s of wearing suits way too big for them. I don't really understand that. Every guy had a baggy suit, and this show doesn't disappoint. But yeah, it's interesting seeing young David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson, especially since David Duchovny's in his 30s, but he looks like he's like 21.
I think he looks older than that.
Maybe I'm giving it was his boyish charm. He has a lot of boyish charm in this first episode.
A ton of boyish charm.
Now, I mean, I should probably watch this whole series through, and I've seen clips here and there, through the series, but I don't know it. But it just seems right off the bat, him and Scully should just be together. They give a huge romantic vibe to this
That surprised
episode.
me, actually, because my impression of it when I was watching it growing up and when I, watched episodes later, I always thought that the romance kind of, or the romantic implications kind of came later as fan service. Right?
Okay.
And I didn't realize that right from the bat, they're kind of gunning for Mulder and Scully as romantic interests.
Oh, yeah.
And I was amazed because I'm like, gosh, you kept that up for 8 seasons. I feel bad because I was always like, oh no, they were friends first, and then the show ruined it. I'm like, no, the show kind of, ruined it from the start.
Yeah.
Not ruined.
They did have a lot of moments staring at each other in the rain, and
they did
moments staring at each other in the hotel room, and candles. Now, keep in mind, since this was a pilot, the pilot structure dictates you have to prove a lot in one episode. So the writers might have gotten a little ahead of themselves on that one and set themselves up maybe more than they wanted to.
Maybe.
But that aspect of it, I couldn't not see this whole romance. I just wanted them to kiss the whole episode.
There were other things in the episode that, like, I remember my friends and I always quoted to each other through the years, like, Billy Miles, the vegetable. And so we always
know he's a vegetable, Scully. Okay.
We always quoted that to each other.
The vegetable? No, the other Billy Miles.
So to hear it again was kind of fun. Gillian Anderson, like, I remember her saying, her experience of the first episode was, she barely knew anything about film acting, and so she's like, I didn't even know what a mark was. And when looking at it, I'm like, yeah, compared to her later performances, it is a much more wooden performance. Yeah. Especially, there's this super awkward part where, like, the part where they laughed.
Oh.
Oh my god!
When she realized that crazy things could actually happen.
Well, no, when she was just realizing that Mulder was actually crazy and that these words were coming out of her mouth too. And,
it was forced.
And so she just like, you're like, oh.
It wasn't as silly as I thought it would be for a first episode.
No,
I'll admit that.
not at all.
They did actually keep a fairly good, serious tone in setting up the series. I was actually surprised by that. I expected to be watching something that was like, oh my god, the first episode of X-Files? Like, what stupid crap. Like, no, it was...
No, it was pretty solid, actually.
Solid.
And, I mean, and you're right, it is very serious in tone. And that kind of goes for all of the mythology episodes. This kind of sets up everything right down to Cigarette Smoking Man. So...
Yeah, Cigarette Smoking Man, and I was on to him from minute 1.
What was it you said? Like, we were watching
well, she walks into the office, and glad to see you, Agent Scully. Sit down. Creepy man in the corner. Ignore him. Don't worry about him. He's behind the door. He's not even going to say hello.
No.
And she doesn't question it because that's a normal thing at the FBI. There's a lot of shady characters,
apparently. And it was just hilarious because Kyle's just suddenly like, we gonna let the creep talk, or is this creep in the corner gonna talk anytime soon?
Yep, just gonna take another puff of his cigarette.
Yeah.
Okay. They established his sister being missing. They didn't wait to drop that bombshell.
No.
I would have maybe expected them to wait a couple episodes in for him to reveal what his motivations were behind it. But they, being a pilot, again, they kind of have to establish that very early.
Well, I kind of like that they had, a nice little lone moment with Mulder and Scully, and I don't think shows have that enough. It's mostly action now. They don't have I don't know, I don't see, maybe I'm thinking of movies. Maybe I'm just still thinking of Star Wars. Forget I said that.
Everything's still Star Wars.
Everything's still Star Wars, and they barely took any time to talk to each other. They just ran from one explosion to the next.
Star Wars.
I loved it, by the way. Don't kill me. There are certain 90s things that, you can't help but notice. Like, you were mentioning the slide projector. And
yeah, did they do that? I don't know.
Did they do
People
that?
correct
It just seems like a lot of effort.
Yeah, especially like adding in the special slide for chemicals like compounds and stuff. Like, did they typically organize it in slideshows, or thought they just have photos?
I don't know. It just seems like so much effort to put them into little slides.
I mean, especially
set it up, wait for your new partner to come downstairs, and set you up for
Especially in the early '90s. I mean. A couple decades before, I might be able to imagine her in the 80s stuff, but 90s, I thought we'd moved past that point.
Yeah. Anyway.
Regardless.
I think we're ready to watch another episode, but that was the pilot. So what do you, overall, do you think...
You know what, surprisingly, even in this, it's like somebody watching, I hate to go back to Star Wars, but it's like somebody watching Star Wars now for the first time when they've never seen it. There's a certain magic that it captured when you were younger, that you love it, but somebody watching it now, it's like, are they going to really like it, or are they just going to think it's silly? But which happens with Star Wars a lot of the time, and people watching it now. But I'm intrigued. I'll admit I'm intrigued to watch a little bit more for sure and see if it keeps grabbing. But it didn't say, yeah, this is stupid. The whole series is gonna be like this. No, I'm interested.
No, it wasn't bad from the get-go.
Mostly for creepy cigarette smoking man.
Yes.
Don't like him.
With that said, see you later, guys. Bye bye. Bye bye, Jersey.
She hates me.